Elon Musk is infamous for claiming to work up to 100 hours a week, and certainly, with everything he's up to, it's not totally unrealistic to believe that might be true. But it's certainly unreasonable to expect employees to operate the same way, and it looks like Musk is paying for it now. On Wednesday, SpaceX finally closed up a settlement for a class action lawsuit in which thousands of employees alleged the Hawthorne, California-based company did not properly compensate them. To the tune of nearly $4 million, SpaceX is shelling out money to 4,100 SpaceX employees who say the company refused to allow them to take legally mandated breaks during the workday, as a consequence of how the company structured its shift patterns. Each worker will get about $500, with the highest payouts coming out to about $2,000 per person. One-third of that payout, about $1.3 million, will go to the plaintiff's lawyers. 3 different lawsuits filed between August 2014 and October 2015 were grouped together by Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Lahu Emble, reports Law 360. One of the plaintiffs, Howard Smith, attempted to block the settlement in order to force the company to pay out more in a separate individual suit, but the Los Angeles court which heard the case dismissed this move. Dalia Khalila of Merton Law Group PC, representing Howard Smith, argued that her client should be allowed more time to collect more information for his suit, ostensibly as a ploy to make SpaceX settle for more. "We just don't see how the settlement is fair and adequate, and we don't think the court has enough information on its hands to make that determination," she told Judge Bull last September. Bull's response was blunt. "If Mr. Smith is unhappy with this settlement, he can opt out," he said, finding no just cause for nixing the settlement deal. California law requires rest periods for employees every 4 hours, along with breaks for meals. SpaceX's shifts were designed such that workers couldn't take these breaks, but were also not paid more for working these hours instead of resting. SpaceX, along with Tesla, stand out in the tech industry as among the lowest paying companies to work for, but it is still ranked incredibly high in customer satisfaction, according to a March 2016 survey by PayScale. It's not clear whether the company plans to modify its employee shift structure and related operations, and a $4 million penalty is quite small compared to the rest of Musk's finances. It may not be the kick in the pants SpaceX needs to reform their employee compensation habits, but it's at least assuring to know not even Musk is immune to dealing with disgruntled workers. On April 8, Elon Musk and SpaceX managed to successfully land a Falcon 9 rocket on an autonomous drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean. On April 19, an extremely stoked, extremely southern spaceflight fan visiting the Kennedy Space Center caught the first stage of the CRS-8 rocket on the back of a massive truck on the way back to a launch pad for post-flight testing. Courtney Bailey, a lawyer for NASA, grabbed the video, but the real star here is the extremely excited narrator audible throughout the whole clip, although hats off to Bailey's steady camera work and pan to show the burners at the end. "Look at that, look at the 8, there it is," the narrator explains, his voice full of the childlike glee we imagine you must feel when a gigantic spacecraft passes by on a highway in Florida. "He's gonna reuse the thing. SpaceX, how good is the 8? The Falcon 9 was on its way to Pad 39 at the Kennedy Space Center, where Bailey said they plan to test-fire the burners again and check the whole thing out to see if it can be reused. If so, it'll be a huge step for the future of reusable rockets, which can't always depend on being able to touch down on dry land." The narrator notices the large burn on the side of the rocket from its takeoff burn, but hopefully most of that damage is just cosmetic. In the meantime, we're just thankful for this video and the unknown space fans' glorious enthusiasm and accent. Late Wednesday evening, Elon Musk got super sentimental on Twitter and shared a video highlighting all the failures and successes of SpaceX's Falcon 9. Musk's post celebrates the Falcon 9's first ever drone ship landing on Friday, April 8, after it launched a Dragon capsule full of goods, experimental equipment, and an expandable space habitat to the International Space Station. The private space company has tried and failed 4 separate times to land a rocket on a drone ship in its endeavor to create reusable rockets, so it makes sense that Musk has been Twitter happy about SpaceX lately. The video by Kinematic, an independent YouTube channel that creates and posts videos telling stories from the past, present, and future of humanity in space, documents the journey of everything SpaceX did to develop the reusable development vehicle program and the Falcon 9 V1.2 that completed the historic landing on the drone ship. It starts with the Grasshopper reusable test rocket, showing it leap up and hover at increasing altitudes before settling back on the ground. Following that are clips spliced together of the F9R reusable development vehicle hovering, various commercial resupply missions conducted for NASA, and the Falcon 9 exploding on drone ships during failed landings. The tone of Kinematic's videos are set with moody techno music. The 4-minute and 41-second clip of SpaceX's Falcon 9 is accompanied by a collaboration track between the bands Sex Whales and Phantom Sage called One Day. The lyrics, "We will all get the one day, and SpaceX did when it landed on the drone ship. Of course I love you, on that sunny day in April. We know what SpaceX plans to do in the coming years, as laid out by the company's president Gwynne Shotwell during the Satellite 2016 conference in March. SpaceX will carry out 16 more launches this year and up to 30 in 2017, which is also the year Crew Dragon is expected to carry humans into space. NASA also extended its commercial resupply services contract with SpaceX to 2024. We'll stay tuned to see if Musk and company can stick the landing on the plans they have lined up. SpaceX has been enjoying an adventurous spring season, leading the charge on the race to send civilians to outer space. At the center of their fanfare, SpaceX's Dragon has been running cargo missions to and from the International Space Station in a series of unmanned tests. The company's goal is to successfully send a manned Dragon to the ISS in 2 to 3 years' time. Most recently, the Dragon touched back down on Earth after completing a cargo mission to the ISS, and SpaceX has wasted no time when it comes to preparing for the next one. Today, the company shared a gorgeous new shot of the next Dragon set for the space station. It will take off with the help of another of SpaceX's Falcon 9 rockets, one of which made headlines for an unexpected, perfect drone ship landing this past week. SpaceX chief Elon Musk hopes that reusing rockets like the Falcon 9 and spacecraft such as the Dragon will help drive down costs. This method could also serve to boost mission frequency as the company moves closer toward its goal of sending a crew to the station, and at the end of the day, it's always important to recycle, especially because what the folks at SpaceX Air Recycling took hundreds of millions of dollars to make. The last Dragon came back carrying over 4,000 pounds of pure science, including blood tests of astronaut Scott Kelly and other important data collected from the space station. The mission marked the 8th return flight for SpaceX, a milestone on the path toward commercial space travel. As of right now, the Dragon is the only station supply ship that actually returns to Earth. Details on the next mission are a little hazy, but it's likely that the Dragon will continue doing cargo runs until SpaceX has finished developing the technology needed to bring on crew members. On June 28, 2015, hundreds of rocket watchers along the Atlantic coast of Florida gazed into the clear skies over Cape Canaveral, puzzled by what they had just seen. They'd gathered to watch the launch of SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket carry an uncrewed spacecraft with supplies to the International Space Station. As the rocket soared through the blue sky, the flames behind it shrank into a pinprick as it approached the atmosphere's upper limit. 2 minutes and 19 seconds after liftoff, a burst of white smoke appeared, lingering in the sky like a cloud. Most people watching the launch from the Canaveral National Seashore assumed the rocket had simply separated from the Dragon capsule bound for the ISS, much like the missions before. Theodore Kim, an amateur videographer who had parked among the piers where Florida's cruise ship docked, tells Inverse that he, like everyone around him, had assumed the launch had gone as planned. "We didn't know at the time that it exploded," he said. Squinting into the sky, it was hard to determine what had happened. Fire and smoke, after all, are part and parcel of any rocket launch. But somewhere along the same coastline, Jim Ramsey, a visiting software engineer from the UK, was watching the launch through the lens of his powerful camera. As he zoomed in, he knew something had gone wrong. Up close, the 9 engines of the rocket appeared to explode like sputtering white fireworks. "That blew up," he exclaims on his recording, which he posted to YouTube. "That disintegrated. 100% sure of that. That's a failure." Surrounded by whispers about the rockets would be landing on "Of Course I Still Love You," SpaceX's barge 200 miles into the Atlantic Ocean, Ramsey broke the bad news. He told the other onlookers in his strong Scottish accent, "That's going nowhere." Meanwhile, the experts at SpaceX headquarters knew exactly what was going on. Not long after the crowds had driven back to their homes along Florida's State Road 401, SpaceX founder Elon Musk, who was celebrating a disappointing 44th birthday, posted this tweet confirming Ramsey's hunch. "There was an overpressure event in the upper stage liquid oxygen tank. Data suggests counterintuitive cause," Musk noted. In a follow-up tweet, he added, "That's all we can say with confidence right now." Almost a month after the explosion, after SpaceX had conducted a thorough fault tree analysis with input from the FAA, NASA, and the U.S. Air Force, Musk discussed the explosion in a press teleconference. The overpressure event he had alluded to in his tweets had been triggered by a hardware malfunction. There have been other, far more fiery explosions closer to Earth in recent history. The Orbital Sciences rocket explosions in October 2014 springs to mind. But for SpaceX, this was a setback, nonetheless.